I'd just like to say a big thank you to everyone who has viewed my most recent video, which was drawing a parallel between the modern day religion of Wicca and the more traditional monotheistic religion of Judaism. I personally felt that although the video was very controversial by its very nature and its very content, it drew a very important point. The point, quite simply, being that can we really provide too much of a distinction between the various different religions of the world? Is there, in fact, a blurring of the boundaries between, let's say, Christianity and Judaism, between, let's say, Judaism and Islam, between, let's say, paganism and Judeo-Christian thinking? I would argue yes. Religions tend to have some very similar functions. They seem to have similar features, such as a higher power concept, often a origin story or a creation myth. There's usually some form of social behavior which goes along with religious activity, even a specific language or use of words or accepted meanings to the use of words which is within those particular cultures. There would be certain fashions or certain sources of literature which hold people together. Often there will be cross-cultural connections between the various forms of literature and the mythology of the various different people in various different sects, because the similarities are greater than the differences, and the differences are created by people. Now, if we are really honest, I think that we could probably say that all different religions of the world are different denominations of the same thing. The various beliefs of various different sects within various different religious groups were created by people for their own political purposes, and maybe have the remnants of the politics of a previous time or a previous era. Not necessarily the politics that we have today, although it is necessary within the 21st century. So do we need to draw such hard and rigid distinctions? There are sections of society which do. Those appear to be more conservative based. They seem to be much more obsessed with tradition or identity, and as such they tend to miss out on what the benefits are to the individual, unless of course they perceive it as being their job to create new or artificial benefits coming from having a faith structure of one form or another. People in general, and I know this is a generalization, they tend to want to find out more, they want to have answers, they also want to have structure, and they want to feel good and feel to a certain extent justified. They want to feel that they're on the side of right, and that they are doing something or involved with something which is also on the side of right. Religions can be very useful in creating these things, but they can also be misused by individuals for their own purposes, and thus to create problems. And I think that when we have religious conflicts, we are living in the problems which have been created by people, rather than thinking about the solutions and the benefits that any particular religion can provide any particular individual. So, a more liberty beneficial attitude appears to come out of understanding the functions of faith activity, rather than necessarily being obsessed with cultural differences.